PBC here, and today we're going to cover engine code P2681, engine coolant bypass valve circuit short. We're going to talk about what's going on, how to diagnose it, and how to replace the actual valve. This code is showing up on the E210 Corollas as well as I believe the RAV4s, and what's happening is there's a defect on these valves. I'm going to put a picture right here that's leaking coolant from the terminals. So that's something you want to keep in mind when dealing with this issue. The valve is meant for colder weather. When you're warming up the engine and you turn on the car, it allows the bypass for the coolant to go through the engine a lot faster or something, and it helps warms up the engine a lot quicker. So I'm telling you these two things because a lot of people are going to be wondering, can you continue driving your car with this issue? And the answer is yes, but you got to keep in mind that you have a coolant leak and not an internal failure of the valve. So just make sure the coolant is at the proper level. Don't let it get it below the midway point. Always use the red coolant, and if you do got to fill it up, remember to make sure that the engine is cold. I have two links down below that you want to check out. The first one is to my Google Drive folder. All the OEM manuals, procedures, and diagrams that I use in this video are there for free. I believe all this information should be readily available. I don't care if you're a tech, a consumer, a random person that just wants to look at diagrams. Definitely check them out, and remember, I'm only able to provide this because of the Right to Repair Act, so support it. The second link is to Toyota headquarters. It's a forum website. A member by the name of they wrote up a really good post describing the issue, the part numbers, as well as the difference between the RAV4 and the Corollas, so that's something you also want to check out. The link is down below. Support them, engage with the website, and let's dive into it. Going to be one of the first symptoms you're going to get is this warning message that doesn't go away. You're going to notice there's no check engine light either. You can go reset the engine maintenance, take off the battery, and the message will continue to come back. So just grab any ODB scanner and let's confirm our code. If you don't have a scanner, go to any local parts store, Napa, AutoZone, and they provide free scans, and you should get something like this.
Good morning, class. Today we're going to have a little pop quiz.
Quiz? But Coach Smiley, I didn't have a chance to study.
That's why they call it a pop quiz, Banks.
Let's start off with a little quiz here, since I assume everyone read the manuals from Toyota. What's the first step in diagnosing P2681? Is it A, trust some random person on YouTube, B, check the fuses, or C, use TechStream or some sort of advanced scanner to actuate the valve? If you chose anything other than C, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed in you. I am skipping that step though. I assume most people don't have access to TechStream or an advanced scanner, but if you do, here are the steps. So let's pull up our diagram, and we're gonna need to check two fuses here, EFI number 2 as well as EFI main number 1. One of them is a 10 amp fuse, the other one is a 25 amp fuse. If any of them are destroyed, replace them and start from there. Let's move on and check our connector. It's going to be a gray 2-terminal connector. It's connector C50. It's located in the rear here. It's pretty easy to get to. So once we confirm that we have a ground and a power signal, we know that our valve is getting everything it needs. Let's move on and let's start taking off the valve. This is a part number I used. I personally like to connect and make sure whatever electronic part I have has proper communication before I start dismantling and changing everything. I've had OEM parts from dealerships come defective, as well as shops will order parts, get the box, put in the old one, seal everything up, and return it, saying it's the wrong part. So just something to keep in mind. The valve is located on the rear of the engine. It's pretty accessible. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see where the valve is and what bolt we're going to have to remove. This is a bolt right here. We're going to need to use a 12mm. I don't care if you use a ratchet wrench, a wrench, an adjustable wrench, a deep socket, a shallow socket. As long as you don't strip the bolt and drop it, we should be good. And when tightening it, remember, this is just hand tight. It's a cheap plastic valve, so just keep that in mind. This is how the valve is going to go with the bolts mounted onto the engine. Pretty sure you can't mess it up, but just showing you just in case. You can do all this without removing the battery. I did just for filming purpose. If you want to do it to be more comfortable, do it. Be comfortable while you work. You can work on it patiently, because this is the part where you're going to need some patience. These plastic clips sort of harden over time with the heat and the cold, so you want to carefully pry them out. I recommend trying to pull them out from the back first. If not, carefully pry them like I did. You're going to notice this valve has a protrusion and a cutout. You're not going to twist it off completely. You're just going to wiggle it and pull it out. And remember, we're not going to lose a lot of fluid, so just put a rag underneath and clean up a little. You want to grab some electric cleaner here so you can clean out the terminal that had some coolant in there. Any residue you get on the vinyl or rubber, definitely wipe it down and remove it. Let's grab our coolant and let's fill up from the little loss of fluid that we did lose. Make sure it's red, make sure the engine is cold. You're not going to have to bleed this unless it did go below the midway point. If you do want to bleed it, I'll include the procedure down below. We're going to let the car idle for about 10 minutes. We're going to make sure the code is gone, the warning message on the dash hasn't returned, and we should be good to go. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how to deal with this valve. As of today, I haven't seen any TSBs or service bulletins, recalls from Toyota acknowledging this issue. I haven't seen whether they're at least confirming that the new valves that are being sold have the defect fixed. Hopefully they say something soon. Defective parts happen, it is what it is. But now you have all the information that you need, whether to hold off on this problem and fix it later, whether you want to handle it this weekend. Realistically, anyone with a wrench and some patience could change this. It's not very technical. You don't need a lot of tools. You don't need a scanner, you know. So yeah, dive into it. I appreciate you watching the video. Thank you and have a good day.